If you are unfamiliar with Nearpod, this video is going to demonstrate the differences between what it looks like from a teacher end versus a student end when running a Nearpod lesson. Nearpod does have some similarities to PowerPoint in that it is a presentation tool. However, how it differs is when you're usually using a PowerPoint, it's something that you project on the white screen in front of the classroom and the students are watching. With Nearpod, you don't have to do it that way because you can push out your Nearpod lesson and all of those slides to the students on their devices that they have right in front of them, and you also are able to control the pace of what the students are seeing on their devices in your Nearpod lesson. The other major difference between Nearpod and PowerPoint is that PowerPoint is generally very one-sided, and Nearpod has interactive slides that you can input into your lesson so that the students are actually interacting with the lesson and you can assess their understanding as you're going along. So the way I have this set up on my screen right now is the left-hand side, I am logged in as a teacher into Nearpod and I'm going to be running one of my Nearpod lessons. The right-hand side, I have another browser open and I have logged into this Nearpod as a student, so you will be able to see both perspectives. Students don't need a username and password for Nearpod. There's no registration. All they require is the unique group code that is generated when you run a Nearpod lesson. So I'm closing this out right now. You can see the differences between the two split screen sides over here is that as the teacher, I have these arrows which allows me to control my lesson. Right now, the student is looking at a still slide as part of my Nearpod lesson. This is just the introduction, so there's nothing for them to really do here. When I click the arrow, it then automatically on the student end shows them the next slide in my lesson, which is something, again, this is a still content. There's nothing here, but this is something that we might be discussing. As we progress, this next slide that the students would be looking at is an interactive slide. So the students are going to be using the tools, this is a draw it activity, using these tools to answer the question, and then they're going to be submitting it. On my end over here, I will have a list of all the students who are participating, and as soon as the students interact with this and submit their activity, I will be able to see it on my end. So for example, if I clicked over here and I just added something to this map and I click submit, within a few seconds I should see it on the left-hand side on my teacher end, and I can see how my students are doing, who has submitted, who has not submitted. If I wanted to click on it so that I could see it in bigger, I could do that. If I wanted everybody to see what this particular student did, I could click share, and then this slide would be pushed out to everybody and everybody would see how this student did. So there's a lot of different options that you can do. Once we're done with this slide, everybody is finished. We just continue to navigate through our Nearpod lesson. I'm just going to go through a few more just so you can see the different types of activities you can include. So you can include multiple choice activities. So the student reads the question, they see their choices, they click submit, and again in real time on the left-hand side the answers should start to populate as students answer the question. So the nice thing about this is the teacher pace. The teacher kind of gets to control the pace as to how long the students have on each particular slide that's going to be in Nearpod. The Nearpod includes tons of virtual tours, so if you are in social studies or in art and you want the students to explore different areas of the world, these are also things that can be plugged in. There are collaboration boards where this is a good activity that you could do if you wanted to start a discussion in the classroom. And you do have the option to approve what students are posting to this bulletin board. So on the collaboration board, the students would see what the question is, and then they would be able to input their answer on this, and student answers would appear on this bulletin board. We're going to move on to the next one. This is a matching pairs activity. When I start it, students are going to be matching very similar to matching games. They would be matching different things over here. So as you can see, there's a lot of different activities in this. Here you're seeing another virtual tour. So in the following videos, I'm going to teach you how to build a Nearpod lesson. I'm going to show you the different activities that you can include in your Nearpod. I will show you how to run the lesson with your student, and I will also show you how to run the lesson in a student-paced mode if you wanted to provide a Nearpod lesson to students to do outside of school for homework or on their own at some point.